Unit 5. Gateway. A defining element of catastrophes is the magnitude of their harmful consequences. To help societies prevent or reduce damage from catastrophes, a huge amount of effort and technological sophistication are often employed to assess and communicate the size and scope of potential or actual losses. This effort assumes that people can understand the resulting numbers and act on them appropriately. However, recent behavioral research casts doubt on this fundamental assumption. Many people do not understand large numbers. Indeed, large numbers have been found to lack meaning and to be underestimated in decisions unless they convey affect, feeling. This creates a paradox that rational models of decision-making fail to represent. On the one hand, we respond strongly to aid a single individual in need. On the other hand, we often fail to prevent mass tragedies or take appropriate measures to reduce potential losses from natural disasters. Exercise 1. One of the next major waves of medical advancement will be the development of genomic sequencing, which will help doctors sequence human DNA to discover the precise cause of an illness and develop a specific treatment for it. Experts believe this process will be easy to commercialize relatively quickly, as sequencing gets cheaper. Using advances in genomic research, scientists are developing blood tests that can detect cancer, while also beginning to apply academic research to real-world scenarios. As researchers get better at identifying the specific genes that are mutating and causing cancer, drug companies will need to produce medications that address these problems more quickly. In the next decade, scientists expect to have more specialized precision medicines to treat cancer. Exercise 2. Though we cannot choose most of the challenges we face in life, we can choose how we're going to face them. Are we going to have a bad experience, crumble under the pressure, run away, or avoid challenges altogether? Or are we going to find the strength and inner resources to rise to the challenges and fully actualize our potential? That's the term psychologists use for becoming the person you are meant to be. Actualize your potential. Facing your teenage years in the right way will give you this opportunity. When you face the challenges before you right now, learn from them and grow with them, you become that person. The challenges in your life require you to call on the inner resources residing deep inside you. By doing that, you come to know yourself and to develop your innate capacities. That is what we mean by actualizing your potential, and being challenged presents you with the opportunities to do it. Exercise 3. Social media facilitates price comparison on the part of consumers, thus making them more aware of online and in-store discounts and subsequently encouraging consumer price sensitivity. What makes the social media space even more effective is the fact that not only do marketers have a new medium through which to share pricing and promotion information, but quite often it is one's own friends, family, or other connections who are passing along price and promotion information from brands. When deals are activated by a consumer, he or she is given the opportunity to share their deal experience with specific individuals via email or more broadly via social media platforms. Given the influence of word-of-mouth information, this is even more impactful as a source. Exercise 4. In certain malls, there is a fair amount of sunlight that comes in from a central skylight, or a few strategically placed skylights. Most mall developers refuse to use the true outside world in any significant way. One fearing that this may encourage the shopper to want to leave the mall and go elsewhere to another world. The notion of shopping as theater or retail drama kicks in at this point. The idea, according to Laura Brine Packett, is to replicate the artificial feeling of a theater or a Hollywood soundstage, where shoppers can be the stars of their own show. This concept is carried forth in a phenomenal way. If the shoppers and others are part of the cast, there is the archway as a stage, and the ability to try on costumes, touch props, and in general engage in the dramatic ritual of shopping. Exercise 5. In the Great Bear Rainforest, the bears drag salmon into the forest, where insects and fungi turn the salmon into food for the trees, which then provide homes to birds in their branches and to wolves in dens under their roots. When a tree falls over in a big windstorm, berry bushes grow on the fallen tree, and insects decompose the wood. Bears eat the berries, and also insects such as ants and termites that live in the fallen log. Sometimes wolves eat bears, but mostly they eat salmon and the deer that live among the big trees. People also eat salmon and deer, and use the bark and wood of the cedar trees. Changes to one part of this ecosystem, even a small part, have consequences for everything else. Our future cannot be separated from the future of the insects of the soil and the frogs and salmon of the rainforest. Exercise 6. Aristotle said, "We are what we repeatedly do." Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. Developing conscious habits is a tool to achieve an integrated life. Developing good or productive habits and eliminating bad or destructive habits involves looking at what you need to implement in your life, as well as what you need to eliminate. Stephen Covey says, "Our character basically is a composite of our habits." Take a look at your habits and ask yourself what is moving you closer to your goals and what is moving you away from them. Understand that it takes 21 days to begin a new habit. That's 21 consecutive days. So yes, every time you do something new or choose not to, it does make a difference. So this relatively painful process of change isn't indefinite. It just takes a few weeks. And on the 22nd day, it will actually be harder for you to not do your new habit than it will be to continue doing it. Exercise 7. Globalization drives the culture of fast fashion. Currently, there is also a lightly different drive to promote the idea of transitioning to slow fashion. However, this gradual shift requires time, measured not in months or years, but in decades or generations. Recycling and remanufacturing, which do not equate with models in nature, always led to a question mark. Therefore, a different approach to address the challenges facing sustainable fashion is absolutely necessary. We suggest the shift should be directed towards nature. We must try and discover the mechanisms that drive nature's incessant creation of organisms without piling up mountains of waste. Researchers have already begun the study of biodegradation, mineralization, and biomass formation, which is nature's way of creating zero waste. Discovery of the laws of zero waste in nature could then be mimicked in the production of fast compostable textile fibers. Exercise 8. Praise that arouses delight and pride in a baby and toddler can have very different effects on older children, particularly in the classroom. When Roy Baumeister studied the effects of praise, he found that it generated more anxiety than pleasure in school-aged children. Children accustomed to the background hum of praise seem to become dependent on praise to initiate any activity. A child who was accustomed to classroom praise spent less time focusing on a project and soon stopped working to wait for a teacher's assessment. Praise seemed to hinder concentration, too. Children's absorption in a task, often called flow, seemed to be disrupted by the reminder that someone was watching. When they were singing or playing an instrument, swimming or hitting a ball, or doing anything that involved deep skills run on autopilot, their performance was particularly badly affected by praise.